That's so funny.
Hello, homeschool friends, and welcome to this episode of the Homeschool High School Podcast from sevensistershomeschool.com and brought to you by the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. I am Sabrina, and I'm here today with two sisters,
Vicky and
Kim.
Yay! And I'm so grateful to be here with them because I love them and because they have been such a beautiful part of my life for a long time. I hope you have a Vicky and a Kim in your homeschooling life. If you don't, you should get some. You should go out to the store, to the Vicky store, and buy yourself a Vicky, and you should go to the Kim store and buy yourself a Kim. I'm not
Definitely find Sabrina too.
Oh, okay.
we come close at the Seven Sisters Facebook group where everybody is our seventh sister.
Yes.
We love everybody, and we like to hear from everybody on the group, and all the seventh sisters and seventh siblings share ideas. And so join Seven Sisters Homeschool Facebook group.
Yes, it is a good place to be.
Yeah.
And whether or not you can actually go and buy the kind of friends that you want, you can most definitely build those kind of relationships into your life. And we just never want to stop encouraging you to look for those things, to look for those opportunities, to volunteer for a project day, to come alongside somebody, to enroll your kid in a class, to show up for a game night, whatever the moments are that allow you to connect with others. It's wonderful to be to have the privilege of homeschooling and creating an educational experience for your children that is uniquely the way you want it to be for your family. And at the same time, it is an incredible privilege to link arms with others who are doing the same for their unique families.
Yes.
And to walk through this adventure alongside each other. Really, really good stuff. You will find that you are so grateful for it. You will be grateful for your Kim and your Vicky and your Allison and your Sarah and your Marilyn and your Sabrina before it's all over with. You will be so, so grateful. And that's kind of what we want to lean into this morning, is talking about gratitude, because it is a more vital part of a healthy life than I realized when I was younger.
First off, Sabrina, that was a great segue. I must say, I was wondering how you could do that.
That's her polite way of saying she was listening to me and going, okay, this is not what we said this episode was going to be about. Why are you talking about that? But it really was intentional because, when I was younger, I think I was naturally I expressed a lot of gratitude. I was a bubbly, I was a cartwheeler. That's my personality. I cartwheel over things. I'm not sure I realized how important gratitude was to my own health and to the health of my family and to my children's health. And in our adventures, co-oping together and community and choir and drama camps and all that stuff, that's some of where I learned that. The phrase gratitude journal, first time I ever heard it, it came out of Vicky's mouth.
Vicky.
Yeah. So let's talk about gratitude and health a little bit here.
It's the wildest thing. So, most of us read scripture, and we've read in the Bible, gazillion times, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. And it's interesting how in scripture, it doesn't say give thanks because it's really good for your health, or give thanks because it will make you feel better. It doesn't say anything about it. It just says give thanks because that's the way God works. But a few years back, I don't even remember when, I was listening to my favorite podcast, the Science of Happiness, besides all my other favorite podcasts like Homeschooling with Technology and all. So anyway, and so it's from the University of California, and they do research on how to feel happier that doesn't cost money. And that it has an actual change in your physiology and your well-being, like they can measure it. So it's, like scientific.
It's the science of happiness.
Yes,
love it.
Of happiness. And so they did this experiment. That's a secular organization. And they had their control group, because it was a real study, that they just did like a normal counseling kind of situation. And then they did a group that for 2 weeks, they wrote down a daily gratitude list. It didn't have to be a certain length. It just needed to be written. And after 2 weeks, they did a PET scan before and then after 2 weeks.
Oh, fun.
their brain structure had changed in an area of the brain called the anterior cingulate. I'm very proud of myself that I can say that. Yes. It's one of the parts of the brain that initiates calm down.
Okay.
Not kidding. So it tells the nervous system it's okay to calm down now. And they found that part of the brain getting bigger makes you more efficient at calming down. Those people also had fewer sick visits, statistically significantly fewer sick visits to the doctor, and measurable increases in well-being, like less depression, less anxiety. So, like, there's
That's so cool.
science of writing down or having a gratitude journal. So, I collect journals everywhere I go. They're giving them away, and I collect them. So I started, okay, I'm actually using these things, and I've been doing it for years. So I must have one big anterior cingulate these days.
Another T-shirt right there. I have one big anterior cingulate. Most people at the mall wonder what that means.
Dear.
That's great.
Laughter is also good medicine.
Yes.
It is.
Oh, the
Absolutely.
endorphins.
Okay, so get practical. What are you thankful for? I mean, what are you writing in all these journals? Does it have to be the big things? It's the I'm thankful that my mammogram came back clear when I thought maybe there was going to be something scary on it. Like, what does it have to be the big stuff for it to really make an impact?
Yeah. Well, okay, that's a good question, because some days are really rotten days. And all I can do, I mean, because I do it at the end of the day, I do my writing. Some days is, oh, thank God, it's the end of the day. But most days what I do is I try to do a kind of Ignatian examine, which I can't remember where I learned, but it's the way I was trained to do it is you notice 3 things that God was doing that day. And one is, you see where in nature, God created us, to be surrounded by all of these trees and sky and sunshine and clouds and birds and all. And he gave them to us to richly enjoy. So what did I notice in his handiwork? And then where did I notice him blessing somebody else? Because even if I didn't feel blessed that day, somebody else had a blessing. And then what did he do for me that day? Where did I see him working? And sometimes he just got me through the day. And sometimes it's a big thing, like, yay, went to the doctor and something was better,
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. I love that, looking outside yourself in creation, looking at someone else, and then looking at yourself too. That is 3 beautiful touch points for finding something to be grateful for.
Yeah. Wow.
I know that with our kids, there was a season of there was a tragedy in our local homeschool community years ago, and one of their classmates passed away. And it was very, very hard on a lot of the kids. And I remember us trying to find proactive things to do, right? To help them not just survive the tragedy, but to help them actively be building health in their mind and emotions and relationships. And one of the things that we did then was encourage this idea of noticing and being thankful for the little things. And looking back on it now, I think maybe I overdid it as like too much of an assignment. Like I think it was really, really good activity, and modeling it and encouraging it is one thing, but assigning it is something else. And so if I could go back and talk to younger Sabrina, I would say, make sure this doesn't feel like a 5-paragraph essay that you're assigning, because they're not going to want to do it. But it's a great thing for young people to develop as a practice.
Well, and that's true. And one of the things I remember going through that with the community is we had to balance their real emotions and their grief and our grief. Those are real. And so you can't deny those and just cover it up with acting like we're grateful. But that being able to hold both things, and that's a good idea, is we don't want to assign what people are supposed to do with their own souls, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How about you, Kim? How has gratitude and thankfulness and played out in your life and your kids and your
Well,
community?
it's kind of funny. I used to teach in our local co-op, and I used to have my Spanish students, like in the higher level classes, part of their homework each class was to just share a high and a low.
Mm, mm.
And after a while, one day, one of my students said, "Do we have to share a low?" And I said, "No, you can share two highs." And he said, "Well, what about something we're thankful for?" And I was
Oh,
like, "Absolutely." So
uh,
then it was kind of an assignment, but they had to
mhm.
share a high or something they were thankful for. And it was really interesting because I wrestled with, do I tell them it has to be something new? And so I decided not
Mm.
to tell them it couldn't be the same thing,
Mhm.
um, but to encourage them to look for new things to be thankful for. And it was neat. Like I didn't typically share things that they shared with other people who weren't in the class.
Oh, yes.
But like a number of times, they would just say, "I'm really thankful for my mom," or "I'm really thankful for my dad or my
Aw.
sibling." And sometimes I did either say to them, "Hey, have you shared that with them lately?"
Mm.
Or even I did sometimes and just said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like your kid regularly shares that they're grateful for you," because we don't always hear that sometimes. And even what we say, like how often do we say to our kids, "I'm so thankful for you," but we might share that with our friends or whatever, or
Right.
maybe we don't because we're so busy and life's going
Mhm.
a million miles a minute or whatever. But yeah, that was a fun thing. And now I'm working with the teens at our church, and we're doing the same thing. We're doing our highs or our thankfuls, and as well as, incorporating, like you said, Vicky, you don't want to deny the hard part. So still inviting them to share and we're framing it as, certainly you can always just share, but also framing it as a prayer request or a help request.
Mhm.
What can you use help with?
Uh-huh.
Even
Mm.
if that just means, I'd just love it if somebody just let me know they were thinking of me this week,
Mm.
or whatever.
Mm. That's beautiful. That's great.
Yeah.
And these things are not just fluff. These are
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
actual
Mhm.
healthy living, character
Mhm.
building, community building
Yeah.
activities for our teens to practice. And that's
Mhm.
maybe a great place to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah.
This is not just an automatic. It's not something you just decide that you're going to notice things and be grateful for them.
Yeah.
It's a practice. And
Mhm.
the more you do it, the more you notice things. I remember, okay, again, Vicky's getting all the props today. But I did something on my cell phone because I saw Vicky do it a zillion years ago. This goes way back. You had an alarm that would go off during lunch or meetings or co-op or whatever we were doing at 1 o'clock every day. And it was just to remind you to notice where God was at work.
Mhm.
And I was like, that's the
Oh.
coolest thing ever. I'm doing that. And so I
Mhm.
set an alarm on my phone. And it was a matter of practicing it for a long time.
Mhm.
But it took on a life of its own. And
Yeah.
I no longer was only noticing things when the alarm went off. I found that I was noticing multiple times throughout the day because you build up gratitude muscles.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so if you're working on these things, let your kids know about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially if something they're doing is something that you're grateful for, you know?
Mhm. Yep.
That's a beautiful thing. Like Kim was saying, have you shared that with so and so? Because it might
Mhm.
really encourage them.
You know what, Kim? That just made my whole day, by the way. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Is that, we love our kids very, very much.
Yeah.
And I recently had a chance to go on the first silent retreat that I've been
Mhm.
on for like 5 years or so.
Yeah.
And it was just a short one because I can't get away for very long. But part of the retreat was the gal who was leading the retreat had everybody write down things they noticed about the other retreatants, because we
Oh,
had
yeah. Yeah.
workshops here and there through the day. And then yesterday she mailed little slips of paper from everybody.
Nice.
And so every single one mentioned that I talk about my kids. My
Oh,
kids are
wow.
grown.
Yeah.
Well, when you said that, Kim, I said, I need to just text my kids and say, I
Yeah.
talk about y'all all the time. I really like you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fabulous. Yeah.
I'm thankful for them. So thank you,
Yeah.
Kim, for spurring me to do that.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Very good. If we come into the holiday that is labeled Thanksgiving every year and feel like we have to get in a thankful headspace or whatever, it can be hard because sometimes holidays
Mm-hmm.
are hard. And in the US, the typical rhythm has Thanksgiving, then starting the month of December, which tends to have a whole bunch of holiday stuff in it between there and New Year's. And for some of us, that's not a happy time of year. For some of us, that's really hard. Holiday depression and family struggles and all kinds of stuff. So sometimes the Thanksgiving holiday in the US can feel like a starting line for a race that you're not sure you want to run.
Mm.
And it can be hard to gear up for it. And maybe the key is to start sometime mid-April or on the 3rd of July or on August 28th, some other time during the year.
Mm.
Develop the practice of
Mm.
noticing and expressing gratitude. And maybe that will set you up for a whole lot less struggle if you're somebody who struggles with holiday depression. Yeah, it's okay to be you,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
you don't have to be happy skippy when you're not feeling happy skippy. And denying struggle and suffering is not helping anybody. So be you, but look for ways to lean into the things that are going to give you the most health and the most growth and the most connection with others. And gratitude is a big one of those.
You're awesome, Sabrina. That's awesome.
Well said.
So we'll wrap it up there. And we are grateful that you joined us for the podcast today. And we are grateful to have you as a 7th sibling. And if you want a little bit more siblinghood, if you want more brothers and sisters, because there's more and more homeschool dads now too. And so we want to be very, very sure that while we are 7 sisters, there's plenty of room for brothers in our life too. And the Facebook group for 7sistershomeschool.com is a wonderful place to connect and to find ideas that you are going to be grateful for and to even build relationships that you'll be grateful for. So please join us there as well. And come back here for more episodes of the Homeschool High School Podcast from 7sistershomeschool.com, brought to you by the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. Bye.
See ya.